Hello everyone, what's going on? It's yours truly again, Miss Cat Riel. Girl, don't be falling on me, girl. I just got you fixed. Shit. Okay, hi. My name's Cat Riel, the girl with 9 lives, and this is the latest video for my vlog. My phone is calling. Damn it. I really need a tripod. Anybody want to send me a tripod? I will be so forever in your debt. I could make these videos so much better, and I guess I could just buy one, but every time I have money, I spend it on things that I need. So, yes, not working has been, well, it's been quite the struggle, I should say, but I'm so blessed by the universe, and I'm so grateful for everything that I have, because at least I have a home, I have food to eat, I have makeup to put on my face, I have the ability to do my own hair because I'm a hairdresser, and I got my nails done because my friend Joey paid for them to get done. So I am blessed. Gratitude, well, gratitude is due. So I'm really, seriously, I'm in a really weird place. And let me explain what I mean. So I've never been in this situation where I feel so content so many days in a row. It's like all of a sudden I realized today that I've kind of been feeling happy for the last, I don't know, week and a half. And this is so unusual for me because being a person that suffers from bipolar 2 disorder, my mood is very unpredictable. Well, almost. It actually was quite predictable in one sense. I always knew that whatever good feeling I was having, it would certainly not last for very long. And I would always be waiting for the other shoe to drop. So the way it would work out is it's like I would have one good day, then I would have one bad day. But for a week and a half consecutively, things have been great. And I am, so as you know, last week I joined this trans dating app where I can meet men that are specifically looking for transsexual women. And it's been quite a success in some ways, I can say that. I mean, I haven't met Mr. Right yet, but I have met a couple guys that are really cool and certainly gonna make some friends out of this. I've only gone out with one guy so far that I've met. Another guy came over to my house, so I met 2 guys so far. The guy that I went out with was super cool. We talked at a restaurant, you know, we had lunch, and he was a nice guy. You know, we have a lot of things in common, and I look forward to doing something with him later on in the week. Hopefully, we'll go for a ride on his motorcycle, because he's got one. I love motorcycles. And then beyond that, I have in addition to that, I met this guy Alex here at my house. He wanted to come over and chill with me, so we came over, we listened to music, we talked, we had a really nice time, and I just heard from him today, and I think he wants to hang out again, so let's see what happens. And then in addition to all of that, the topping of the cake is my Arizona iced tea. Not the beverage, no, it's my friend David. So David and I met through the app, and I don't know, we kind of hit it off, you know, just in conversation, because we haven't actually met. He lives in Arizona, hence the reason why I say his name is Arizona. I don't know, it kind of makes me feel good. He makes me feel good. He puts me in a good mood, and he believes in my potential of being something later in life. And I can't be any more grateful for that as well. Thank you, David. So I never thought I would be in this position, you guys. Let me tell you. When I started my transition, it was horrifying in the beginning. You have to keep in mind, the way I looked in my previous life is nothing of what I look like now. I was a really masculine guy. I had a lot of muscles, and I was very hairy, and I had a beard down in here, and I looked like a biker outlaw kind of guy, and it was all an act. It wasn't me. I had lived that way for so many years that it just kind of took a life of its own, and I had lost sense of who I really was. When I started to transition, however, the reality of what I was deciding to go into, what I was deciding to make my life's journey was going to be one of the most difficult things that I could possibly ever endure. And I'm sure you can imagine how that must be for someone. Put yourself in another person's position when it regards being transsexual. Imagine having to go from looking the way that I just described that I loved to dressing in female clothing, wearing makeup, and wearing my hair long, but still looking very much like a male. It invited so much ridicule, so much humiliation, so much abuse, you guys. I can't even begin to tell you. There were days where I just couldn't even leave my house because I was so terrified of what I was going to encounter when I got into the public. And although I had started my hormone therapy right away in my transition, it still would take about 2 years to start seeing any change in my body whatsoever. So the first 2 years were just filled with fear and self-loathing and gender dysphoria and a slew of other issues when you think about what it's like to be in public, just trying to go about your business, going about your everyday, and yet every step of the way you have somebody laughing at you or gawking at you or making comments about you or just making fun of you or straight out just harassing you. I've had people become violent with me, strangers in a public place in broad daylight, becoming violent with me because they felt so threatened by my presence for some reason. Transphobia is a very real thing, although I don't throw that word around very easily. I really feel that we need to be careful who we label as transphobic. Just because people don't agree with the way we live our lives doesn't mean they're transphobic. It means that they just need a little bit more education, a little more exposure, and you'd be surprised how many people will come around if given that opportunity. I think too often, especially the LGBT community, likes to label people as fascist and phobics or whatever, without really understanding their point of view or where they're coming from. Yes, there are many people that are transphobic and homophobic and everything in between, but I don't think most people are. Honestly, I don't. I think that people are influenced by their community. I think they're influenced by the media. I think that they're ignorant, and I think they need to be educated. And what's the best education that they can get is seeing you out in public. Exposure, you guys, is acceptance. So the more they see us, the more they see us visible, doing regular things like everybody else, like shopping at a grocery store or going to a park with our dog or something, it's going to normalize it for people. It's the same thing that happened with the gays. When the gays started coming out and being out in the open, it was difficult for them at first, but eventually people got used to it, and now it's not even an issue really, unless you live like in, I don't know, Alabama. No offense, Alabama. I'm sure you're great. Now, in this 2-year beginning transitional process that I was going through, I felt, since I didn't really know how to deal with that sort of attention, I didn't know how to deal with people ridiculing me, making fun of me. The way that I reacted to it was just god-awful. It was really bad. It probably made matters completely worse. Not probably, it did make matters completely worse because I probably would not have gotten attacked as many times as I did if I had just walked away and kept my composure. But instead, I decided to lash out back at these people, go off on them, call them names back, just be a real dick douche to them, thinking that I can bully them into accepting me or frighten them into being cool with who I was, and all it did was make matters completely escalate, and I changed no one's opinion other than probably my own. Now, things are really different for me now because I have been on hormone therapy for almost 5 years now, and I've changed so much. I personally don't think that I pass. I personally do not think that I'm passable. However, I am passable because a lot of people don't even bat a second eye at me. And a lot of people don't even know that I am trans unless I tell them or somebody else tells them. And that's kind of shocking to me because every time I look in the mirror, I still see a dude. Honestly, I do. I hate it, but that's part of my gender dysphoria, and it's going to be an ongoing lifetime struggle with that. But I have learned to accept myself for the way that I am and where I'm at this point in my transition. But a lot of people perceive me to just be a natural born female, although I'm not. But I make sure that I am always open and honest with people if I think that things are going to go into a romantic. So honestly, you guys, I rarely ever get accosted anymore. I can't even remember the last time somebody made fun of me because they figured out that I was transsexual. I have to say that nowadays, people just pretty much treat me like a natural born woman. There are some things about me that I think give it away sometimes, because there are some people that do figure it out after observing me for a while, or maybe even just talking to me for a minute. They can tell, because sometimes my mannerisms, or maybe something that I do in a movement, or maybe a bodily feature gives it away. And you know what? I used to really stress about that all the time, hoping and praying that people would not notice that I was transsexual, that they would just accept me for being a woman. But all in all, it is what it is. I have to accept myself for the way that I am at the place that I'm at in my transition, and I do, because everybody has to start somewhere. And I'm so grateful that that's happened, because honestly, it was miserable having to try and worry about that all the time. I noticed something. It took me about 2 years to realize this, but when I finally realized what was making me so miserable, because I was completely miserable in the first 2 years of my transition. I wasn't changing fast enough. I wasn't looking female enough. People were not accepting me enough. And I was constantly seemingly fighting with people, or just being angry at myself for not looking like more of a female, or angry at God, or angry at everybody, because I just felt like, God, it didn't seem fair. It didn't seem like I was ever gonna find happiness or acceptance in society, But ultimately, I had to just decide that the only thing I could control, because I can't control how other people are reacting. So I had to come to realize something. I couldn't control how other people viewed me. I couldn't control their perception of me. I had no control over that. The only thing that I could control was how I reacted to it. And in the past, I reacted so poorly to it by allowing it to bother me when people would laugh at me or something, allowing it to make me feel bad about myself when people were judging me. It just really made everything go inward, and it made me feel like I needed these people's validation in order to feel happy, And so eventually I got sick of that shit, and I just decided, fuck it. This is me. This is who I am. And however it is that I look, and whatever stage of my transition I'm at, I'm still okay. And you have to be that way for yourself. You have to be your biggest cheerleader, you guys, because no one is going to do it for you. You have to learn to love yourself and accept yourself for where you're at and where you are. Because now I would love to get some body modifications done, things done to my body to make me look even more feminine than how I look now. The truth of the matter is that these things take money, and I don't have any at the moment. So I'm gonna have to wait for those things to come to pass. But what you see before you is just what hormones have done for me. Hormones, some cosmetic stuff, like makeup, and just the way that I feel about myself exudes an energy that makes people see you for who you are. And it makes people accept you more. Because if you walk around feeling timid and afraid and fearful of how people are going to receive you, then you're going to be chewed up and spit out by them. But if you walk with such confidence, knowing who you are, and not letting anybody's opinion sway you on your own opinion of yourself, you're going to be stellar. I promise you. It takes work. It doesn't happen. I used to make these statements back in the day. I used to say, well, man, I'll be happy once I get my surgery, or I'll be happy once I get my boobs done, or I'll be happy when I start losing my beard or something like that, No, you have to find happiness within yourself right now, because none of this is going to make you happy. It'll give you some temporary relief of your gender dysphoria, but eventually that'll wear off. And then what are you going to be left with? Nothing. So you have to find your own happiness, you guys. And you may wonder how to do that. All I can tell you is that you have to go inward. There is nothing outside. There's no outside source that can bring you joy and happiness. It has to come from within. And you have it in you. So be patient with yourself and learn to love yourself, because you're worth loving and you're worth living the way that you want to live. And it doesn't happen overnight, but you can do it, So one of the reasons later on in life, a lot of those statements changed, where I was like saying, oh, I'll be happy when I get a boyfriend, or I'll be happy when, I can find the right job or something like that. And again, I applied that whole mindset to that as well. And I said, no, I'm going to be happy regardless whether I have these things or not. And it really works, you guys. I mean, on paper, my life looks pretty fucking tragic, but I have to say I'm making the best of it, and I'm happy today. Do I go through tired or sad, depressing moments? Of course I do, but they don't last. Everything is temporary. So whatever you're going through, just remember that this shall pass. So that's why I made this channel, you guys, because I wanted to help people that are in a similar situation that I'm in, who have nobody to go to, nobody to ask. I want to be your source of strength and inspiration. I didn't have a lot of people that I could ask about these sorts of things. I had to figure it out on my own. I had a good support system in the form of my husband and my mom, but I really didn't have any support from my friends, and I didn't have any support from my community. So I just had to do it, and I had to make it work, and it was hard, and I didn't think I was gonna make it, and I still haven't made it. I'm still working at it, and it's still hard, you guys, because the battle's in here, So I hope that this was able to help you guys. I really hope that I reach out and somebody can get something from this, because I really wish I had this when I was coming out. I wish I had somebody I can go to and hear advice from. But anyways, I don't have all the answers, and I'm not a professional. However, I am your friend, and if you need me, please reach out anytime.